Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gillian Berry, and today's video is going to be amazing. We have a very special guest. We have Ava on from Ava Loves Raw on the YouTube channel. She is absolutely incredible. She is just thriving, shining, and just an amazing example of the raw vegan diet. So we're going to talk about her before and after. And we're also going to talk about some other amazing things as well, some do's and don'ts, and how to make this diet work for you. Ava has a wealth of information, so you guys are going to want to stick around till the end, and let's get right into it. How are you, Ava?
I'm excellent, and I'm sorry. Something came on the screen and I'm blinded by the light, and it was something that I had to click. So I'm sorry if everybody saw me going like that.
No, it's okay. So how's it going? So let's get right into it. I'm just wondering, how long have you been raw vegan for?
So I have been fully raw vegan for 5 years. And prior to that, I was high raw, but it was a little bit of a slippery slope and I was too new for it. So all in all, 7 years, but really the last 5 years is when I really went for it. And I was fully raw. I've been fully raw since then.
Yeah, and you look amazing, and you just have like that high energy about you. And so I'm wondering, when you transitioned, what were the biggest benefits and the biggest like changes you noticed?
Well, I came from a sickly background. I had been experiencing a lot of issues when I went raw, and that was the reason for me going raw. I had a host of problems that I just thought this can't be normal. And the doctors kept saying, oh, it's age related, it's hormonal and all those things. So I started in my mid 40s. I was just going downhill. I had so many issues. The worst of all was probably my hormones. I had periods that lasted for weeks on end. I almost needed a blood transfusion. I just stunk. I had really bad energy, really low vibe. I had horrible skin. I was just a hot mess. I was a hot mess. So I just didn't want to go the traditional route. The gynecologist said that I needed to have my uterus scraped out and done like the lining out. That's the reason why I was bleeding so much. And then they said I probably might need a hysterectomy. And I was only 45, so that freaked me out. So then that's how I started looking into ways of self-healing. How can I take matters into my own hands? What can I do? And so I at the time I lived in Florida, and I had heard about the Hippocrates Health Institute. So I'm like, well, it sounds pretty good to me. So off I went.
Amazing. That, like, to me, that's just the top tier, the best place you can go in the world. I want to have them on for an interview. I actually just emailed them the other day. But yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, like, they're a Raw Living Foods Healing Institute, and they do everything there, right? So I've heard when you go there, you get everything checked. Like, so how was your experience with that, and how did that affect your journey?
So when I went there, I was very raw, but not in the raw sense. I was just raw as in I did not know anything. I kind of figured I knew about health because I had been reading about veganism, and I had been I actually stopped eating things that weren't organic. And so I thought I knew. I thought I was a pro, and it was like a big slap in the face. I knew nothing. And so my experience there was amazing. I did the health educator program. I was there for 9 weeks on campus, and it was life transformative. Actually, it was just amazing. I learned a lot, and I left with more questions than when I started, because that was just the tip of the iceberg. That's what started me. But I left feeling pretty confident, but at the same time, the way their lifestyle approach can be a little overwhelming, because you grow a lot of sprouts, and there's very low fruit, and there is wheatgrass, and there's these other things that I eventually, adjusted to my lifestyle and to my needs. So yeah, I left a changed person. I left transformed for sure.
Wow. So you felt really good when you were there. And so it was mostly green juices. They do a lot of green juices there, right? And yeah, a lot of sprouts and salads and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did not feel amazing, actually. I felt like actually awful, just awful. I detoxed really bad. I thought I was dying. I kept asking the nurses to please check my pulse, my temperature. I think I'm going to keel over any minute. my detox was horrific because it was like the rug was pulled from under my feet. The day before I was eating Oreo cookies, dipped in almond milk and having a vegan burger. And then the next day I was just completely, it was just a shock to the system, really. And so I felt really awful actually for the first 3 weeks. I literally, I would walk and I would sit, I would walk and I would sit. It was really that bad. And
wow.
so their approach is very much based on living foods, you know, so they have a huge buffet of just sprouts, and then the salad is sort of like the side dish, and the other raw food, little side dishes, but the main course is really the sprouts and the microgreens. And they do 3 juices a day, 3 green juices without fruit. So their green juices, celery, cucumber, and they do sprouts, both sunflower and pea sprouts. And that's it. They limit the fruit. You know, whether you agree or disagree with that, it's still transformative because you really are cleaning down to the cell. You're just really getting in there. So it was amazing, but it was really tough too.
Yeah. And I feel like it's harder. I feel like it's harder to be more vegetable based. I feel like that's a lot more difficult. And do you know, like, do they do that because in their mind, it's more detoxifying and cleansing to focus on the greens rather than having more fruit? Do you think that's why?
No, the reason they do it is because they believe that the sugar, no matter the source, sugar is sugar, they call it, feeds disease, feeds cancer, feeds candida, feeds yeast, feeds mold. And so they believe that most people could use, you know, get off the sugar completely. And there are other gurus out there, if you will. There are other raw foodies out there that believe that too. There is Victorious Kulpensis. He also founded Hippocrates. There is Karen Calabrese. There's what's the guy with
I know John Kohler is high greens too. Like,
yeah, there's a few people out there. So, you know, they believe that, yeah, that sugar feeds cancer. There's a lot of sick people there. I mean, I saw people walking in stretchers. Being carried in wheelchairs, stretchers. I mean, all kinds of people are like, sometimes they wait to the last minute to go there. And so I saw some very sick people with tubes and all the rest. And so, yeah, they just go for a very, you know, strict diet. I don't necessarily agree with the no fruit, but I did see miracles there. So I don't know.
Wow. Yeah. I love my fruit, but I guess I can kind of see their approach. If it's like, there's people coming in, like you said, in like severely bad situations. So with the detox, like, I'm sorry you experienced the detox. Like, maybe I would have too, if I took that route, like the more high vegetable base. I haven't experienced detox on my like 5-year raw vegan journey, but, I know a lot of people do. And in your opinion, how do you think people differentiate between detox and like, okay, this isn't working. This has been like a long time now, they're experiencing symptoms. Do you think it's always detox, or do you think sometimes maybe there's some nutrients missing or like something's wrong?
I do. That's a great point. And I always want to share this with people. I mean, detox is going to be at the beginning. And I mean, unless you come in and out of the lifestyle, or you're constantly detoxing because you just ate a cheeseburger and now you're on it again on the raw food, and then you ate a cheeseburger again, and then you're constantly in and out of the lifestyle, then yeah, you might experience that. But detox really only truly should be at the very beginning, when you get on it. If you experience some detox symptoms, that's totally normal and understandable. But if you're years in and you're like, I'm detoxing, I don't know, maybe there's other issues there, and you need to, I'm not against doctors. And I know a lot of people are like, it's, you know, terrible, don't go to the doctor. But sometimes you have to have common sense. You might have I know people that huge tumor. Oh no, the raw food will shrink it. Well, maybe you should go to the doctor, have the tumor taken out, and then rebuild your health with the raw food. Like, let's not be foolish. We have surgeons now. We have medical advances. Do I believe in most doctors? No. Sometimes I just leave, I scratch my head with the things some doctors say, but I do believe there's a time and a place, and sometimes a little common sense and a little balanced approach. Just, you know, you might need something, you know, you might, I don't know what your situation is, but like, some people are so blinded by the dogma of the raw food, and it's like, yeah, it's a great tool, but you might need also to go to the chiropractor or to go to some Chinese medicine guy for some herbs, or you might need, I don't know what, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I'm wondering, so when you went raw, how long did it take you to see results? And what were like the biggest benefits and results that you saw?
Okay. So I saw results right off the bat. I mean, it was like right away, my skin started to clear up, and I had really pretty bad acne. And I wish I had pictures of my acne, but I am that vain that I refuse to have bad pictures of me. I would like delete, delete, delete. There's no way I'm having this ever. So I wish I could show that I had pimple upon pimple. Especially around here, around the jaw area, I had really bad skin. So my skin started clearing up pretty good. I also, this is really weird, but I used to use deodorant, like, wake up in the morning, take a shower, and it's flat. I stopped stinking. That was right off the bat. I lost my period there for a little while, and that, I think that was just part of my body trying to like, okay, let's divert some energy to where it needs to go. Let's stop the cycle for now. So I lost my period for a little while. So I didn't think that that was a bad thing. But so obviously the heavy periods stopped, which is good. Eventually they return and I went back to normal. But so I saw that as a good sign. I also noticed my mood improved. I used to yell a lot. I used to be pissed off. I used to have a road rage. I used to be impatient, and not that I am, some kind of, I don't know, saint now, because I'm not, but I certainly, my mood really, really, really did improve. And probably the biggest thing that I noticed was that my sugar cravings I used to have these kind of sugar cravings where I literally shook. Like I would get like shaky, like my crack was sugar. And I used to wake up in the morning, and the first thing I did was get my coffee and like some kind of processed starch or you refine, something, bagel, cookie, donut, toast.
Me too. Yeah.
I was like, that was my crack. And so that when I remember the first few times that I woke up and I was like, oh, like I'm okay. I didn't need coffee. I mean, that to me was life-changing. I'm so enthusiastic about it because I felt like crap. I mean, and getting up in the morning and having energy and just to me, it's been a life transformation that cannot even be described accurately. I don't think.
Yeah. And that natural energy, it's just so much better than like any artificial high, like fake energy you'll get from like the stimulants, like coffee and stuff like that. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, what do you typically eat in a day now? You're 100% raw vegan, right? Or do you ever eat some cooked food or no?
No, but I did do a little bit of an experiment a few weeks ago, maybe like 3 months ago, where I started eating a little bit of beans and I started eating a little bit of hummus because I'm working out really hard now. I'm at the gym.
Yeah.
I'm doing this thing now. I'm about to turn 51, and I'm doing this thing where I want to see how good in shape can I get at my age with my diet. And I'm just playing with it. People are so judgmental. I want to see what I can do. Right. So I started feeling after the big heavy workouts that I needed more food, that I didn't want to eat necessarily more fruit. And so I added some beans, but I soon found out that the hummus I didn't digest very well. The beans kind of slowed me down a little bit. My digestion actually did not suffer that much, but my poo did smell. It was like, I don't know. So I did this for a little while, and I wanted to see what would happen. And that was it. It was a short-lived experiment. It wasn't worth it, put it that way. So now I'm back on 100%. I must have been maybe 95%, 90% raw for maybe a few weeks, 6-7 weeks. And it was an experiment. It didn't work. So I'm not against trying different things or taken away. I'm not like, okay, label me as 100%. No, because I might change. Now I'm having some protein powder that says raw, but I mean, how raw can protein powder be, right? I mean, I don't know. Raw. So I'm having protein powder. So I am 100%, but I'm not opposed to adding, or as I build muscle and as I go, I don't know where I'll be. I might add some sweet potatoes, I don't know. I might add some couple of beans here and there with my salad, I don't know. Right now I'm where I'm at, but I'm not opposed to changing.
Yeah. And I think that's a great attitude. And I think everyone really has to find what works for them. And I know for me, if I've had a little bit of cooked food, I feel super dehydrated and like the digestion slows down. And maybe sometimes it's not so bad to have a little and see, and then you see like you really don't miss it, right?
Yeah, especially, I mean, I have to be honest, if I eat cooked food as in lentils or something, a bowl of soup or maybe some pasta, that I cannot touch. That I will not do. I will not do well with that. When I cook for my kids, I don't even taste it because I've been there. I know what it was at the beginning when I would cheat here and there, and that kept me from going forward. So I know that I can't eat cooked food at this stage. Maybe one day I will, I don't know. At this stage, I know that I do very well on my raw diet. If I do incorporate some cooked, it's going to be very clean. It's going to be no salt, no sauces, it's going to be plain cooked beans in my salad. It's going to be a plain baked potato or sweet potato in my salad. It's not going to be cooked anything like I said, spaghetti. It's not going to be like that. So I cannot touch that because that starts my cravings again. And in many ways, I consider myself like a recovering food addict. And I know what happens. And it sounds strange. And people are like, oh, you're mental. It's not so much that, is that I know where I've been and I know where I'm at. And I don't want to leave here. I want to stay where I'm at. So yeah. Definitely dehydrates. You just, your taste buds change. It's just not a good place for me to be, definitely.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, when you became raw and like you seem so high vibe and like magnetic energy, did the people around you notice a big difference with you, and were they supportive?
Oh my God. I lost some friendships because people think she's lost the plot. She's got right in the head. So some people did notice. I have to be honest. I mean, I can be many things. I can be high vibe and I can be a monk in a cave too. I'm not always high vibe. I'm high vibe when I talk about raw food because this is my passion. I love it. I want to transmit that. I want people to see what's possible in this lifestyle. But at the same time, I'm not always this high vibe. I mean,
yeah, me too.
You know, there's a time and a place. Most of the times I'm actually quite an introvert. I love spending time alone. I love reading. I mean, I have a family, I have kids, I have a husband. My favorite time is when like people exit the door, you know, like, and I'm like, oh, I'm so happy. And I do a couple of recipes, or I might, you know, journal or whatever, or read or whatever I do, you know. And it's so yeah, I'm not always high energy, but I always have the possibility of being high energy. I'm never depleted. My battery is always on full.
Yeah.
If I need to, I don't know, set up a tent in the garden at midnight, I can do it. You know, like my daughter had a sleepover and they slept in the garden in a tent, in a camping tent. If I have to do anything, I mean, if I have to go running right now, I can do it. Like I'm always on full, but I also need time alone.
Yeah. I think most of us do. I feel the same way. And I'm wondering, so have you experienced any deterioration over the years? I know I haven't. Like some people say they experience hair loss as vegans or things like that. And what do you say to some people who say like long term you will experience that?
Well, that depends. If you're lacking, in my opinion, this is just my opinion from what I read, what I studied, who I've listened to. If you are lacking in minerals, yeah, you might start experiencing hair loss. I mean, you're just because you're eating a raw diet doesn't mean you're gonna get all the nutrients you need. You do need good quality. You need variety. You need consistency. You need to maybe supplement. And I know people don't want to necessarily hear that. It depends on where you live, what kind of produce you're getting, the quality. So I think that it's important to be smart and not think you have it all figured out. But I did experience some hair loss at the beginning. Now, my hair was never great. I have to be honest. My hair has always been on the thin side. I don't have a lot. I've always had like baby hair, and it's always been, you know, baby hair. So when I went raw, prior to going raw, I was losing hair like crazy. And that was one of the reasons that I was like, I got to do something. And I went raw, and hair fell out. And then it got to the point where it stopped, and then it started coming back better and healthier. So I think
that's common.
Yeah, a lot of people go through. I think it's just part of it. I don't think it's anything to be alarmed, but at the same time, if it's coming out in chunks and you are getting concerned, then go to the doctor, have a blood test, for goodness sakes, have your levels checked, make sure that you're okay, and that there are no underlying conditions that sometimes you may have a thyroid issue. You might have to take some iodine, whatever. So yeah, I did have some issues. I also, my tongue would get coated in white. Like when I went through detox, I'm like, this is disgusting. I had a tongue scraper, you know? So yeah, definitely the hair, the nails now are growing like crazy. My skin, I have aged, I have to be honest, and I'm not happy about it either, but I have aged because I am almost 51.
You look amazing.
Oh, thank you. So I have age, and there is no getting around that. I have age, but I think I am going to age. But to me, age is just, I'm just getting started. So I'm not worried about it, because I know how I am. I know my health is I feel amazing, but I have deteriorated. My skin is not as tight. The wrinkles are coming in, the laxity's coming in. It's what it is, right?
And I know you have a popular video about what aged, you said, I think it's about what aged me the most on the raw vegan diet. I haven't seen that video. I want to watch that video, but I would love if you would share maybe a few key things from that video right now. Like, do you find there's certain things that have aged you?
Yeah, this is very unpopular topic, but at the beginning I ate way too much fruit, and I was getting very bloated with it. I think I have a yeast problem going. I think I had candida. And I really do believe that an overabundance of sugar will age you. And I noticed an aging occurred a lot. I don't want to say a lot, but I noticed I aged when I overdid the fruit. And I mean, I overdid the fruit. I was just like overeating. Wow. And I noticed on those 2 years, I'm gonna look at pictures. I'm like, yeah, there's aging occurred there for sure. I don't believe in overdoing the fruit. I believe fruit is necessary, but I don't believe in the freaking 20 banana a day things, or that's not where I'm at. That's not how I work best. Maybe it's my age. Maybe I don't know what it is, but the dates, the amount of people that eat so many dates, that to me, it didn't work.
Yeah. And they're hard to digest, I feel like, you know what I mean?
They're so dehydrating. It's like they suck all the water in your colon. I think they're dehydrating. They're hard to digest. They up. And I when I went to the Woodstock Fruit Festival, I've been there a few times. People would have these massive amounts of dates and bananas and so much fruit. I'm like, I don't even know how you're not walking around like a balloon, because I could not digest all that.
Yeah. And me too. So other than like high fruit and like lots of dates and stuff like that, are there any raw foods that you avoid?
Mushrooms. I'm not comfortable with eating a lot of mushrooms if they're raw. So I don't eat a lot of mushrooms, and I'm missing out on the mushrooms. So I bought this mushroom powder, I think it's called. And I'm like adding it to the smoothies because I realized that they have nutrients there. I'm like, I should, so I will have some mushrooms here and there, but I try not to have raw mushrooms too much. They kind of freak me out a little bit. I don't know. So that's one thing. And what other thing? I try to not overdo the maple syrup and the maybe cashews, since they're not really raw. And the process of extracting the cashews, they use this high heat, and they have to wear those masks. So they're also there must be something toxic about them. So I try not to overdo the cashews. I try not to overdo the maple syrup and the condiments and things like that. But other than that, I'm pretty happy-go-lucky. I'll eat if it's raw, I'll eat it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm just wondering maybe some do's and don'ts for people watching, and maybe like thinking maybe some things you've learned over the years if you were to start raw now. Maybe there's some lessons there and like some do's and don'ts that you would have to offer the audience.
Yeah, that's this interesting topic. I was thinking about it that the other day, and I made a video about it because I kind of wish well, the first thing I wish, and I didn't say this on the video, I thought about it afterwards. I kind of wish someone had said to just relax, you know, get the pole out of your ass and relax.
Yeah.
Fine. And also don't think you know everything, because I used to think I had it all figured out and I'm a raw foodie and I went to Hippocrates and I'm on my high horse. What the hell? I don't know anything about anyone else. Your struggles are not my struggles. Do your best. Keep your heart open, good attitude, bless everyone. Just be grateful to be alive. And you know, the food is not everything. I mean, I've studied the blue zones a lot. This is a fascinating subject. There's people on earth, these little pockets on earth where people live to be, there's high concentrations of people that live over 100 years. And I'm like, what the heck is happening in those areas? Yes, most of them are plant eaters. Yeah, but they're not raw foodists. And they certainly, you know, they're not obsessed with food either. They eat plants, they eat beans, they eat from the earth, they eat fruit. But you know what else? They have great communities. They have great attitudes. They exercise, they walk every day, they have fresh air, they have a passion, they have a purpose, they have. So I just think that health is more than the food. And at first I was so focused on the food, the raw food, and I missed the boat. I mean, there's so many things that contribute to good health too. And being obsessed with raw food is not a contributing factor to good health.
So true.
I wish I hadn't been so dogmatic, and I read the book, the Bible, you know, of the Raw Foodies, the 80-10-10, and I was like, this is it. And guess what? It might not be, you know, it depends. It depends on and I just beat to my own drum, right? I try not to think that I have all the answers, and I keep in mind, and I wish I had been more relaxed overall instead of so freaked out and everything has to be perfect. And
yeah, I think that's a really, really great point. And do you picture yourself like staying vegan? Do you think you will stay on track? And is your family vegan or your kids vegan?
No, my kids are vegetarian. I believe I'll always be vegan. I don't believe, because for me, it's not just for my health. It's also, I have a huge, the animals, it just kills me. I cannot go there. I don't think, I mean, God forbid if there's a war or something and I find myself eating, I don't know what, but you never can say never. I certainly don't judge anyone that eats meat though, because everybody.
Me too.
And the best they can where they're at. I eat meat, and who the heck am I to say to someone, how dare you eat meat? It's like, so I'll always be compassionate toward animals. That's never going to change. So I see myself, I think raw, even my license plate now, I have raw food as my license plate.
I love it.
Raw food is going to always be an integral part of my life. Why? Because it changed my life. I am married to raw food. This is not going to go away. The level of raw food is, I don't know, 100%, 90%. I don't know where I'm going to be. I'm not labeled, but right now I'm 100 and I'm thriving and I'm great. And this is where I live and I like where I live. So no, I'll never eat animals unless something catastrophic happens, but I don't judge anyone who does. They're doing the best they can. I understand.
Yeah, same here. I agree. Maybe we talk a little bit about people who want to stay raw vegan. I know a lot of people want to be fully raw and like they're high raw or eating a little bit of raw, and they really struggle with the cravings or with just staying on track because the people around them aren't raw or things like that. And you've done it successfully now for 5 years. So do you have any advice or tips for people who want to stay committed, but they're having a tough time?
Well, the first thing, actually, you have to be very disciplined at the beginning, to give you that chance to get to know the lifestyle, to sink it in. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that people don't want to hear that, but you really do have to have some sort of a plan, especially if you have to cook for your family, or you have a family, people around you eating pizza or whatever it is. So you do have to have a plan. You have to put your priorities and your needs first. Unfortunately, I know as moms, it's really hard to do, but feed yourself first, because you
Mm-hmm.
can't make spaghetti bolognese or whatever it is you're making if you're starving, because it's going to be really, really hard for you. And this is not a torture. This is supposed to be joyful and freeing. So take care of your needs first. And I know for me, what did it, what cinched it, what made me just get over the hump was, don't even try it. That was my mantra. Don't even try it, the cooked food, because one bite, it was like, that was my crack pipe. So
Mm-hmm.
not even try it. Don't even taste it. Don't even lick it. Don't even, anything. Don't go anywhere near, and give your body a chance to really detox, to change your taste buds. And then after that, it really is a matter of, are you eating enough? Are you eating enough variety? Are you taking care of your needs? Are you, it's hard. Every situation is different. And I feel for some people, because they have really strong food addictions. I've been there. I know what that's like. So the best advice really I could give is have fun with it. Don't beat yourself up either. How many people I talk to, and they're like, I'm a loser, I can't believe it, I just can't do it. It's like, my gosh, have a little self love and compassion for you
Yeah.
first, because you're doing amazing. Even the fact that you even know about being raw food or raw food, that's amazing already in and of itself.
I
So
agree.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think coming from a place of love with the food, not doing it out of a place of fear and being like, oh, I'm eating this way to avoid like disease or cancer, eating in a way of like, I'm nourishing my body type of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Are you a fear-based raw foodist? If you are, then you got to change that. You got to change that, because you can't uh, get to where you want to go, in my opinion, if it's coming from a place of fear. It's
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
detrimental. It's so bad for you, really. That's more hurtful than the cheeseburger,
Mm-hmm.
that self, yeah, absolutely. That fear has to go. That's first and foremost.
Yeah. And another thing I like to talk about on my channel a lot, because I know this is something that a lot of people deal with, is that feeling of hunger. So
Yeah.
do you have any tips or things that have worked for you? I share on my channel what works for me. Is there like, do you feel hungry a lot? I know a lot of people say I can't do the diet, I'm just always hungry.
No, I don't suffer with that, but I did at the beginning. And it was just a matter of getting your stomach used to it. And your microbiome is changing, and the old bugs that you had in there are dying off, and they're demanding the food that you used to feed them. Don't forget about this
Mm-hmm.
company here. That's like your
Mm-hmm.
second brain. And so at the beginning, you've got to think with your head, not with your stomach, and know the logistics of what's happening and why it's happening. But what I did do is I've always juiced, and I always felt like when I did not juice, I was always hungrier. And I think juice covers a lot of bases. And I really am a great, huge believer in juice. And I know a lot of raw foodies are like, well, that's not how nature intended it. Listen, nothing is like nature intended it. Look at the screen you're looking at. This is far from natural.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta get on with the times, we drive cars, so we have juicers now, and I think they're a fabulous tool. We extract the nutrients, we drink them, we don't have to digest them, and like, what's not to love? So to me, juicing was always one of those things that always afforded me a more satiated state, like without the cravings and constant. But at the beginning, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I went to a raw food restaurant probably twice a week. I had one near my house. I was lucky enough, and I went there twice a week to get my fix, to get my satiating heavy foods that took hours to digest, because it was all nut based and like this thick burgers and all that. And that's what I did. That's how I got over it. If you don't have a raw food restaurant, use whatever tools you have to get you over, because it is a transition. It is a process. It is a journey. It doesn't happen like that. I know most people are like, tell me what to do and I'll do it and it'll be good and over and done. It's not like that. It takes time. We got to give it time. We want instantaneous results. And for me, yeah, I just went to the raw food restaurant and I ordered like 2 dishes. I took some to go. That's how I got over the first couple of years. If I'm honest, that saved me. That absolutely helped me tremendously. Yeah.
And I'm wondering what makes you like, what meals or foods make you feel your absolute best?
Wow. My gosh, my mouth is watering because I'm like, I don't need fancy food anymore. What makes me feel my absolute best is my green juice, really dark green. My big salads, that is like my go-to every night. I have my huge salad with the sprouts, excuse me. And that's just it. That's a big huge salad with sprouts and microgreens and my fresh lettuce from the farmer's market and my fresh kale and my shredded carrots and my yummy tahini dressing. And that to me, it's heavenly. I don't need any fancy anything anymore.
Yeah, I feel like the simpler you eat, the better you feel.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you live in California, so the farmers markets, they must be pretty good there.
I have to say, one of the reasons why I moved here was because I knew the food here was abundant and amazing and great quality and local.
Amazing. And you have the sun there. I think the sun is very important too. I'm in Toronto. We don't get much sun, but I think the vitamin D in the sun is so important too, especially for things like your hair.
Yeah, the sun is amazing. I lived in Florida, so I got plenty of sun. Surprisingly enough, the food in Florida is not that great. And I know people think it is. It's great as far as mangoes and papayas and some tropical fruits, but the greens are all imported from California. So the lettuce, first of all, I would pay $4 for a lettuce that had been sitting there, I don't know how long. Even at the farmer's market, they import the lettuce. But here in California, I just go to the farmer's market, I pick it. I was like, the guy's like, I just picked that yesterday, or I picked it this morning. I'm like, oh my God, it smells of earth. I'm just like so happy. This is living food right here. So yeah, to me, where you live, yeah, definitely can make a difference. I mean, we traveled for a year in an RV when we left Florida. My husband and I just sold everything and we minimalized and we put the kids in an RV and the 2 dogs and off we went. We traveled for almost a year and I found places. It was really hard to get good food, and I feel for those people because if you're shopping at Walmart, you're not getting great quality. I hate to say it, but you're gonna survive, but are you going to thrive? I don't know. I have my doubts. I went to towns where I went to the Piggly Wiggly and there was like iceberg lettuce, some nasty looking tomatoes, a bag of carrots and some onions. And I'm like, and everything else was processed. So I feel if you live in places like that, I understand it's tough. You're going to have to join a co-op or I don't know what, you're going to grow your own food. Because definitely the quality matters and where you live matters. And I love it here for that, for the food. The food's abundant and it's great quality.
Absolutely. And I'm just wondering, what would you say to somebody who wants to be raw, but they're surrounded by people who aren't raw and it's like their coworkers or their friends? Like most people aren't raw, right? So a lot of people struggle when they're surrounded by people who aren't, in a society where everywhere you go, it's like a drive-through, cooked food in an ad, things like that. And they want to do it, but it's really difficult because most people don't do it and they're kind of on their own. And maybe they might deal with like judgments from people and stuff like that too. Do you have any advice for somebody who is in those shoes right now?
Well, the first thing is that you have to live your life for you, not for everyone else. And I understand because I'm surrounded, my family surrounds me with cooked food all day, every day. And my friends, I don't know many raw foodies. Who does? There's not that many of us around. So my advice to you is really, I mean, you need to be courageous. This is a very courageous lifestyle. You are swimming upstream all the time. Society's going this way and you're like, nope, I'm going that way. And it's definitely can be a little bit incy challenging, but yeah. You gotta do you. And I know it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But you definitely have to
put yourself first. I agree.
Just be courageous and say, you know what, the way I sort of plant myself I reground myself sometimes is I go on YouTube, I watch people such as yourself or whoever's out there, you know, you watch interviews, you watch inspiration that regrounds you sometimes. Sometimes you get a little bit thrown off by whatever, you know, you go to a party and everybody's eating food and everybody's eating chips and you feel left out. You feel like, well, there's nothing for me to eat here. What am I going to do? And you just kind of like leave a little defeated, or you feel deflated, or you feel like a little left out sometimes. I get that, you know, just go home, watch some YouTube videos again, have something good, yummy to eat, a nice smoothie or some nice cream.
Yeah.
More than anything, you need just courage to do you.
Yeah, I agree. And I was just thinking too, I'm wondering when you went raw, I forgot to ask, and people might wonder, did you experience any weight changes? And have you struggled to keep weight on or off? Because I know that's another thing that a lot of people comment on my channel, they struggle with.
Yeah. I was never overweight. That's one thing that, knock on wood, I never had an issue with weight because I always exercised and I always kept in shape. You know, physically I might look okay on the outside. What was going on the inside was quite another story. But no, I lost a little bit of weight. My body just had to find my perfect weight. And so I was 110 pounds, and then I went to 106, and then I went to 110 again. And then I went up and down, and now I'm at 108. So it just, your body will find its way if you get out of the way. You just get out of the way, you eat the right food, especially what you leave out matters tremendously. It's not just what you put in, but what you leave out, because you could be eating raw food and then you have that pizza, that cheeseburger, kind of like cancels out a little bit, I think. So it's what you put in and what you leave out. And eventually your body, I think, finds its way when you get out of the way and you get to your perfect weight. And for some people, that's higher than others. I know most people think, oh, I'm going to be a beanpole. Maybe not. Maybe you are more hippie. You have a little bit more on your thighs. Maybe you have a little bit more on your belly. Not necessarily that you're fat, but that you're just a bigger bone person. I mean, there is that, you know, not everybody's going to be very, very skinny.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I'm wondering, I know a couple of your videos are very popular too about juicing. So do you feel like juicing has helped you a lot? And what's the longest juice cleanse you've done? And do you think that can be beneficial for other people who might be struggling out there with detox or things like that?
Well, first of all, you ask great questions. This is
Thanks.
so informative. Yeah, you're a pro, you're a professional.
Thank you.
I'm blown away. It's like you're a journalist. It's amazing.
Thanks, Ava.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I did a juice cleanse at the beginning of my journey because I watch a lot of the John Rose videos, and I'm like, yeah, he's got a great point. Get the stuff out. Let me clean my GI tract, my colon, everything, clean it all out. So I did do a juice cleanse. I did 25 days because.
And that was, sorry to interrupt, that was at the beginning when you first transitioned?
Not at the beginning. I waited until I was a little more sure-footed.
Yeah.
I mean, like maybe 2 years in, maybe 3. I don't even think it was. I had done 7-day juice fast. I had done 3-day water fast. That's the longest I've ever done. I had done, 3 days on juice, 5 days, 7 days. But then one day after a while, I'm like, let me do a longer one and see what happens. But it left me a little bit depleted because I lost not too much weight. I lost some weight, but your body is funny how your body just finds what it needs and gets rid of the rest. But I did lose a little bit of weight. And afterwards I felt like I needed to rebuild a little bit. So I think 25 days was perfect for me. I do recommend juice fasting or juice feasting. You don't have to drink gallons and gallons, but a good amount of juice. I do recommend it because a lot of the times it's a great reset. I sometimes caution people not to do it too early in their journey because it can be overwhelming and they want to do heroic, 50 days or whatever. It's like, you don't need to do heroics right now. Just eat the raw food. Take it easy with the detoxing. It'll happen little by little. This is not a race. And then when you're good and ready, maybe do the juice fast later. You don't have to do it all, like people get so maybe too overwhelmed. It's definitely something you want to do when you're ready. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Well, this has been great. I don't want to keep you too long because I know you have to get going, and I would love to do it again with you sometime though. I've loved talking to you.
You too. This is so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. And I will definitely link all your stuff down below so everybody can find you on your YouTube channel, which is Ava Loves Raw.
Yep.
Yep. And then do you have a website or anything as well?
Yep. EvaLovesRaw.com. Same thing.
Okay, perfect. So I will link everything down below. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for everything you have shared with my viewers. I've loved having you on, and I hope the viewers, I truly hope you guys have enjoyed this and gained some value from this. And be sure to hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.